A very good evening, everyone. We're back with another weekly career class. I am your host, Samarth Solomon. And in today's session, we will be exploring STEAM education and skills. And for this, I would like to welcome Mr. Vaibhav Chabra. Very pleased to have you, sir. A short description of his professional background. Mr. Vaibhav, he is the founder and the chief learning officer at Makers Asylum. He is a mechanical engineer turned carpenter and educator with a degree from Boston University. He founded Makers Asylum in 2013 out of a small garage in Mumbai. Makers Asylum is India's first community maker space, and we'll probably hear more about this from Vaibhav himself in this session. So, very pleased to have you, Vaibhav, for this session, and most welcome to all our audience as well. At the end of the presentation, you may ask questions. I'll be moderating as the host, and so please feel free to post your queries in the YouTube chat, and we'll sure be to take them up. Thank you. And without further ado, I will hand over the session to Mr. Weber.
Thank you, Samarth. Hi, everyone. It's so nice to be here, especially at the iDream Career. It's an honor and a privilege to be talking to all of you. I'm joining from Goa, and I'm going to try and share a fun story with you, rather, more than anything else. And hopefully we can take out some interesting things from the story to take forward into our careers. So here goes. Here's a fun story of my career, rather. Let's begin. So like Samarth mentioned, I'm a mechanical engineer by degree, a carpenter by passion, and now I've become an educator by choice. It's been a very organic journey for me to transfer into all these skills, and I'll be happy to share some of those exciting moments with you and talk a little bit about this story. So right after college in Boston University, I started working for this really exciting startup called iNetra. We were building mobile-based eye diagnostic devices. This was based out of MIT Media Labs in Boston. And MIT had all these amazing labs and all these amazing facilities where we could go and experiment, make pretty much anything. Plus, in Boston, there were all these amazing fabrication facilities. You can imagine there was one lab which was almost the size of a football stadium. And inside that, they had a woodworking workshop, a metalworking workshop where they were building giant robots, a cycle repair shop, all sorts of things, which were really amazing. So back then, this was the first time I personally got access to a space like this. And it really helped me find myself. And that's when I joined this crazy team. We were building some very interesting gadgets, but at the same time, learning a lot from the community and failing, building stuff, having a really exciting environment where we could try out some amazing ideas. Then eventually, iNetra, my professor over there at MIT, asked me that, hey, why don't you move back to India? Because the device has so much more impact in India. You can continue to do the research over there and also develop it for rural communities over here. So I thought that's a great opportunity. So I took the next flight. I moved back to Mumbai, started traveling all parts of rural India and taking the device to the masses and at the same time experimenting. However, there was a bit of a problem. There were no maker spaces or no labs. There were no access to 3D printers. There was no access to a laser cutting machine. And every time I had to make something, I had to go through a service provider. Finally, I found one workshop who would let me use the lathe machine myself because I personally love using the lathe. And that's where I started making the device by myself inside a small little garage. However, there wasn't any facilities over here that were open. And I don't know about you guys, but at least when I was growing up 10 years back, in schools and colleges, they have amazing equipment, but they're not always completely open. They're not like made completely available for students to just mess around with or be able to make whatever we want to make. It's always got this little degree where you need permission from somebody to go and access the tools or get approval for your idea before you will make it. And I thought that's not the right kind of mindset to be able to build stuff. So that's when something really exciting happened. The ceiling of my office in Mumbai fell down and it broke everything. It broke our furniture, it broke our tables, it broke all our equipment, it broke pretty much everything that we owned inside Maker's Asylum. Oh, sorry, Ainetra's office. And instead of going out and buying new furniture, I decided to do a DIY meetup and call the community. People like you, people like myself, a bunch of other really, really exciting people from all across Mumbai got together, 6 of us for the first time, to build 3 tables over a weekend. And it was amazing. Very interestingly, all these 6 people who are here in this photograph are doing some really, really cool stuff. This guy, Abhijit, who's in the photograph, he's the founder of now Anja Lenses, and they're making augmented reality-based virtual reality devices for the defense today. Aparja has now moved to MIT and she's become a research scientist. A lot of them went out to do some really cool stuff. And I went on to set up Maker's Asylum because I fell in love with this community. I fell in love with all of these people who came together to build a simple community place for people like all of us to come together, share ideas, and make whatever we wanted to make, no matter what it was, whether it be a small toy or building a satellite ground station. No idea was too small or too crazy for this space. And that's the reason why we called it the Asylum, a place for all the crazy people to come together. And this was the first garage that was born out of this. I quit my job in 2013, just about a year after the first meetup of Maker's Asylum, and set up this little tiny garage about the size of a small coffee shop, 200 square feet in Bandra, to build a community space which was open to everyone to come and experiment and make their ideas happen. However, in the past 10 years, since then, we've moved over 7 spaces. Rather, we've been kicked out of 7 spaces. And somehow or the other, we've grown in size. And more importantly, we've grown in community and grown in the love of making. That's what's really happened over the past 10 years. Our last space in Mumbai was almost 10,000 square feet. It was massive, which we had to move out of in the pandemic. And now we're in this beautiful 100-year-old Goan Portuguese home in Goa, in this beautiful village of Moira, where we continue to build and at the same time spread the love for making with more and more people. So just to give you a context of what this space is all about, like I said, this space started for people like myself and others, artists, engineers, designers, to come together, share tools, and make their ideas happen. However, a lot of people very organically in the past 10 years started coming to us to also learn to use these tools, learn how to build and make their ideas happen. This is before even STEM and STEAM was popular. Nobody even talked about STEAM and STEM back then. This was approximately 10 years back. And people were coming to this space organically, wanting to learn 3D printing, wanting to learn laser cutting, wanting to learn how to solder, wanting to learn how to be able to take their idea and conceptualize it into a small physical prototype to show that they can make it. And it's possible. This space is now graduated into having a fully functional. Now we have all these spaces inside Maker's Asylum. We have a full wood workshop, which is open to everyone. There is a metalworking section where a lot of artists and makers come together and make their ideas happen. That's Priyank right there, welding and making installations out of scrap metal. We have a digital fabrication lab with laser cutters. We call that machine the Death Star for all the Star Wars fans out there. We have 3D printers, now approximately 15 of them. A fun story about 3D printers. When we first got our 3D printers, we put them right in the center of Maker's Asylum. And people used to come to me and ask me that, hey, are you okay? You've kept all your 3D printers right there. All the students are going to come and break them. My answer to that used to be only one thing every time, that only if they break them will they figure out how to make them better and how to make them and how to fix them better. And that was so true, because in the past 10 years of Maker's Asylum, we've broken perhaps 3 to 5 3D printers, but honestly, we've made so many better ones. And the community collectively has grown so beautifully that the intelligence or the collective intelligence of the community has been growing. Now, there have been, I think, 3 startups that are making 3D printers come out of Maker's Asylum, doing some very exciting work. One of the really cool ones is Fractal Works based out of Bangalore. Okay, there is an electronics lab where a lot of folks from different backgrounds come together and make LEDs and different exciting projects. There's a virtual reality lab where you can come and play with VR gear and also make really cool software for virtual reality. And that's what started happening. And then slowly, these programs started becoming more exciting as STEAM and STEM also started getting more popular. And slowly, our programs started becoming interesting and more people started coming to the space. Eventually, we now have alumni or students in over 30 countries. People from all parts of the world started traveling all the way to this small little garage in Mumbai, or well, this facility in Mumbai wasn't really small any longer, to come and share and learn from each other. Share from the frugal mindset, share from Jugaad, learn the culture of making in India. Couple of programs that we do. We have the SDG school that we've been running for many years now. It's focused on entrepreneurs, young adults, wanting to create an impact in the sustainable development goal space, to come build something which has a lot of impact, learn about it. It's a learning program at the end of it. The idea is people from different backgrounds come together, spend 2 weeks learning about the sustainable development goals and thinking about a project that they want to make as part of one specific sustainability goal, and then work together in a team to actually go through design thinking, rapid prototyping, using all the tools that Maker's Asylum to be able to develop that idea. And then, of course, there are some amazing partners to this program like UNDP, United Nations, and others that really add value in terms of how they can then take that beautiful idea to the world and beyond. And many startups, many ideas have come out of this program as well. And I'll talk about some of them later. This SDG school program initially used to happen physically in Mumbai and in Paris because it was one of the pet projects by the French embassy as well. And now it's not only happening in Paris and in India, but it's also happening in a few other countries. But more excitingly, it happens in a hybrid format. Part of it happens online, part of it happens physically, where you get to travel and be together with your team and visit places and solve exciting problems. Then there is the Innovation School, which is meant for folks to really learn all the maker STEM skills, anything from making and building drones and hacking them, learning about CAD modeling, designing for 3D printing, IoT, electronics, 3D printing, all the fun stuff, and then creating products and projects that matter to you. The idea is to be able to start building your portfolios really early. This is perfect for the ages of between 13 and 20, somewhere over there, to start building your portfolios, learning about different skills, and then coming for a physical residency to Maker's Asylum in Goa and working on a project that matters to all of you guys. These sort of programs then became sort of really exciting. And now we've been working with various universities in different parts of the world that give credits as part of their universities to our programs. A bunch of them like Monash, SMU in Singapore, TIS in India, and a bunch of other universities in France actually provide credits for these programs now. So you can actually move forward in your education streams with these programs. Here's another really exciting program that came out of Maker's Asylum. This one's focused for differently abled community. A lot of folks that don't have hands, legs, or have hearing impairment, not able to see. This program is meant for them to come to Maker's Asylum, along with other exciting engineers and designers like all of us, to go ahead and solve their own problems. We don't just solve their problems, we teach them how to solve their own problems. So it's a collaborative effort to work together and make some exciting products and projects. One of the really cool projects that came out of this program was a flying wheelchair, where they built a wheelchair that could attach to a paraglider so that a person who can't walk can learn how to fly. One of my favorite projects. Here's another one where students from all different universities come and build musical instruments for the differently abled. This This one was started as a partnership between Makers Asylum and IIT Bombay to create this program together. And now so many amazing projects have come out of this program, especially this one called Armstrong, which got featured all over the world recently, where they built a guitar for a person who does not have hands. Uh, Another really cool project, and I'll talk about a few others. So slowly, what started happening is Makers Asylum started to become this innovation hub in Mumbai and started to gain some recognition for this. But I want to remind you guys that all of this started with building a simple table. And that is something very special and important to Makers Asylum, the carpentry side or the making side. Uh, and this is something really exciting for all of you guys as well, perhaps, as a simple story, because of the fact that, wow, sorry about that. Um, the table is a very beautiful reminder that it's not something really complex that you need to begin with. It's not about creating complex projects or creating something really big right at the beginning. You need to start with something simple. And we started with just tables, and now the asylum has done a lot of really cool stuff. And that's one thing that I want to share with you guys, that no matter how many ideas you have, how many crazy thoughts you have, it's about building a simple prototype or a simple product to begin with. And that's what's really key. Sorry, I'm getting a call in the middle. I just need to cancel this. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me get on. Let's go a little further. Let's talk about why is this maker culture or making important, especially when you're beginning your career. So I put down certain points that I feel are really key and really important when it comes to this space. And it's important not just for engineering or design, but I think it's important for no matter what career you choose. One, it helps you creatively solve problems. Think about it. If you have an idea and you're trying to explain it to somebody, you can only explain so much. But if you're actually taking a physical prototype, something that you've built in front of somebody else, and let them play with it and let them touch it and feel it and see it, that is a totally different way of experiencing an idea versus just sharing and talking about different concepts. And that's what is very important. Being able to take those ideas that we have in our head and trying to be able to manifest them in some sort of a prototype or a proof of concept or some sort of a way to move forward from there. More important than anything else, I think, in this entire process is the personal satisfaction. I think making is a very what do you call it? Inherent thing. We've grown up makers as we are born. We love making stuff. I think many of you would have remembered or built your first piece of Lego that you put together. How special is that little thing that when you make that piece of Lego and it looks beautiful, and then you keep it on your desk for the rest of your lives? I mean, there is something to it, right? When we make something, you feel like you own it at a very different level. And I think that is very key and beautiful about making. When you make something, you own it much more than just buying something off the shelf. Your love for it is so much more. And I think that personal satisfaction, that self-sufficiency of being able to solve that problem is really key. And that's a lifelong learning. It's not just valid for one career or another, it's valid for life, I think. I'll tell you my personal story. When I grew up, there weren't any maker spaces or fab labs or anything. And I used to go to a car garage and learn about how to fix cars in the summer and try and open up every single thing that I could find. However, I did not know how to put it back together. I used to always struggle. I don't know how to put it back together. One time I opened up my dad's phone. He gave it to me because the screen was broken and something was wrong. So I managed to fix the screen, but then there was a little part inside which I kept on my desk. I didn't know what it was. And I put it back and gave it to him. 2 days later, my dad came back to me. He said that, hey, my phone has been working fine. The screen is okay. However, I'm not getting any signal. What did you do to it? And then I realized what that little piece was sitting on my desk was the antenna of the phone. which I forgot to put back. So simple things like that, simple moments like that, that little satisfaction of being able to open stuff, put it back together, and understand what makes it work. That's pretty much what the maker culture is all about. The environment, in terms of careers, specifically entrepreneurship, design, engineering, it helps across, like I said, everything to say the least. Uh, there are a lot of people from very different backgrounds, including pilots and accountants, that also come to Makers Asylum to be able to become more creative and try and make their ideas happen. And that's really beautiful, I think, because they bring in a very different concept and flavor to making than just engineers, I would say. Um, okay, let's look at some of these people. These are some super inspiring makers around the world that I would love to share their stories with you guys real quickly. This one, the first one that you can see on the cover page of Wired magazine, is Lady Ada. Lady Ada is the founder of Adafruit Industries. She has started a company that does sells all sorts of electronic kits and shares projects around making and electronics around the world. She's one of the coolest makers out there working on electronics and making. There is a Mark Roberts right here with the giant Nerf gun. Mark Roberts is quite famous now. I think maybe you guys know him. He was a NASA scientist or a NASA maker, and he's been in the United States doing a lot of maker projects, building really, really oversized, over-engineered projects. But what I really love about him is how he beautifully shares his stories on YouTube. You should follow him and see all his amazing projects, see how amazingly he's built such crazy projects and which are super inspiring for the world. Right next to him on the left is one of our really close friends, Mitch Altman. He was the founder of one of the first few makerspaces in the entire world called Noisebridge in San Francisco. His claim to fame is this project called TV Be Gone. He basically made a keychain for himself with one button on it. And what it was a simple circuit with an infrared remote that could turn off any TV in the world. Simple as that. So he would just go around random places and restaurants and other social places and keep turning off TVs because he did not like TVs because they limit or reduce social interaction, which I completely agree with. So his project TV Be Gone is, I think, one of the coolest maker projects out there. Then, of course, there is Adam Savage over here. Adam Savage does all the costumes for Star Wars, Marvels, and all the other amazing movies out there. He's a maker who pretty much the entire world knows about, but one of the coolest guys out there who's been making one of the most few exciting cosplays and costumes for all your favorite Marvel movies, your favorite Star Wars movies, everything from the Stormtrooper helmet. It's all designed by one guy. That's Adam Savage and his team. This one right here, I'll talk about a few more quickly. Anouk. Anouk makes 3D printed dresses and dresses that move and adapt to environments. So whenever she moves around, the dresses react to the environment differently and do like very interesting, different behavioral things. She's one of the very cool and amazing makers that's been experimenting with wearable technology in Germany and has made a beautiful living out of that. There is Mohit Bohite. He is from Mumbai once again, and he's been making these electronic circuits that are in every single museum across the world. He's made electronics beautiful, I think. His passion for electronics shows in each and every single piece of circuitry he designs. It's so beautiful. Okay, moving on. So what are all the STEM skills out there? What are we talking about when we talk about STEM? So, you know what? I asked this question to ChatGPT just a day before, the AI that everyone's been talking about. And this is what it told me. And I thought I'll just copy and paste this over there and let you guys just absorb this for 1 second. Number one, critical thinking and problem solving. That's a STEM skill. That's what STEAM is about. It's not just about science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. It's about really understanding and solving problems. That's what STEAM is all about. Yes, coding and programming, because it allows you to be able to use technology to be able to solve problems. Creativity and innovation, it's all about thinking out of the box. It's all about thinking and empathizing with the user, creating products that really matter to them. Mathematics, statistical analysis, basically using data to be able to solve problems is what it talks about over here. Collaboration and communication. STEAM and engineering, STEM is all about collaboration. It's not competition. It's not about competing with one another. It's all about working together and solving problems together. Design and visualization, building stuff that's beautiful, building stuff that's useful, understanding how to design effectively for the right people. Scientific inquiry, really asking questions, diving deeper into scientific experiment, being legit about it, not just coming up with ideas, but actually understanding and making them and validating those ideas into scientific experimentation. Research and data analysis. Well, researching, understanding data, making it legit is all about STEAM. Adaptability and flexibility, being able to adapt and change to new times. COVID is a great example of that. We had to adapt so much to uncertainty, change the way we live. This is the first time we're probably after COVID so happy we're doing these virtual calls and learning so much from people all around us. I'm sitting right here in Goa right now while you guys are all across the country. And it's so beautiful that we're able to talk together and we're able to share together. A few years back, this was not normal. Finally, ethical reasoning, being able to discuss and debate on ideas, making it so that you're able to consider ethical implications of innovation. So for example, is AI good or AI bad? AI is also using a lot of jobs today. So is that a good thing or a bad thing? What is good about AI? What is bad about AI? Having those debates, asking it, making your own opinions. That's what STEAM is all about. And finally, the last thing that I like to talk about is how to start your maker journey. And in my case, it was simply building tables. And that's how Maker's Asylum started. And that's how my maker journey started, by simply making a few simple tables. And then everything else was history. And all the other programs and everything else was a byproduct of making those tables. But here is something that I would like to perhaps do in a more collaborative manner. Okay, before I start this, Samarth, how are we doing on time?
Yes, Vaibhav, we're good. We have a couple of minutes. We have like 15
Okay.
plus minutes.
So if I ask the audience some questions while I talk about this, do we have an audience that's going to be able to work with us on this?
Yeah,
No,
sure.
right?
We can try. Actually, it's getting streamed on YouTube, so there's a delay in time. They're seeing it late. But
Okay.
yeah.
Fair enough. Then we'll skip this example and we'll move on to certain examples from my side. Okay. So how to start your maker journey? Here is a really, really cool, simple process called the design thinking process. There are many processes and ways to innovate, and there are so many different processes out there. I love the design thinking process because it's very simple and straightforward. And maybe some of you guys have learned it in school also. This was started by Stanford University, the D school over there. It's got 5 simple steps: empathize, define, ideate, prototype, test. Empathizing is the hardest and the most exciting part about this, which is really understanding who your user is, what the problem is the user facing. Simply asking that question that, hey, am I solving the problem for myself or am I solving the problem for Samarth? If I'm trying to solve the problem for Samarth, I need to know him a little bit. I need to understand what his perspective and what his problems are. And then after that, I can really define my problem statement. Then I can ideate, prototype, test it, and then repeat again and again and again. The best thing about this process, it's an iterative process. It goes around in circles. Okay, I had a really cool example for you, but maybe I can just share it myself. This is a common problem that most of us see. You've seen this before. See women on the street taking loads of water across India for kilometers and kilometers back to their village. And it's a very common problem. However, how do we solve this problem? Now, I know this is a one-way street, so I just wanted to talk about this. So uh, a bunch of guys got together and looked at this problem from different angles. They said that, hey, yes, this is a problem. The problem is the fact that there is water shortage in most of our villages. Perhaps we can go ahead and install a pipeline. And that's what they did. They installed a hand pump in the center of the village. Guess what happened? None of them used the hand pump. All the women still walked 1 kilometer every morning to the river to go and get water. They did not use the hand pump. Any idea why? Well, most of the cases, most of the foundations, most of the people don't end up asking the women what their problem is. What is your problem? What is going on over there? What's happening in the village? They jump to a solution. And that's where we go wrong half the time. And that's where STEAM and STEM comes in, which is really understanding the problem before jumping to a solution. So a bunch of folks, STEM students, went to these women, to the village, spent a month over there, and asked the woman that, what's going on with you? Why are you not why are you not using the hand pump that we put in the village? Why are you still walking to the river? They said that the men in the village are very, very dominating. And the only way we get to have our fun time, our free time, our time when we can really have some social time with all our friends is when we go to the river to get water. That's the time when we get to have fun and bathe in the river. So when you put this hand pump in the center of the village, you took away our freedom. You took away our social time. And that's what you did wrong. Now, do you guys understand the problem? Do you guys empathize them? Do you guys feel their pain? That's really important when solving problems. The guys that did that launched this beautiful product called Velo. It's a simple way for the woman to drag water back to their village every day after going to the river. And that's just one example of these amazing products that have come out of such exercises. And what's so beautiful about this device is that it's not perhaps the most efficient solution around the world, but for these specific women, it is amazing because they're able to buy something, use it, go to the water, get the water back to their homes and still have their social time. What's also beautiful is the fact that this is now a social enterprise that's employing hundreds and hundreds and thousands of women to be able to create these devices and then selling it back to the women. This has become now a multi-million-dollar industry that's creating these things and using the funds to be able to support more women in the process in terms of jobs and other things. And that, I think, is true, a good example of a social enterprise, solving problems and creating social impact in the process. Okay, I'd like to talk about last couple of few projects just to give you guys some ideas of what is possible at a space like Makers Asylum and other maker spaces around you. There are maker spaces now in every part of the country. And I really, really encourage you guys to go and find the closest one, go check out what they're doing and meet the people over there. There are some usually amazing people who would love to share their ideas and make stuff at these amazing spaces. And of course, if you guys would like, you're welcome to come to us as well. Let's check this out. So first is Rehan. Rehan was about 15 years old when he came to Makers Asylum, 16 years old. And he had a problem. His neighbor was blind and he wanted to help him. So he came to the asylum as part of the innovation school at that time and started researching and looking at how he can help him. Then he went to his neighbor and asked him that, hey, how can I help you? Like, what is your real problem? Where do you really suffer? His neighbor told him that, you know what, one thing that if you could really, really help me with is the fact that whenever I meet people, I feel very embarrassed because I don't know who's standing in front of me, especially if it's somebody that I know. I don't know who's standing in front because I can't see. So Rehan said, okay, I can do something. So he came to the asylum and he worked on this golf cap with a camera on the front and a Raspberry Pi at the back and a speaker next to the air, so that his neighbor, moment he was standing in front of somebody that he knew, would be able to see who's standing over there, use image recognition, and whisper into his ears who's standing in front of him. Very simple, but such a beautiful little device. Um, there is, okay, over here we have our friends over here, Aryan on the leftmost. They built a device because he had a problem that every time he would turn on the shower, especially on the hot side, he would have to waste so much water before the cold side came, before all that cold water, before the hot water actually came. Almost like 10 liters, 5 liters of water would get wasted every morning in his house. And he had a problem with that. So he built a wall system for his tap so that when you turn on the water and the water is still cold, it would first send all the water to the plants. And then when the water was hot enough, the shower would turn on in his toilet and he would start getting the hot water, which was, I think, genius. And one of the most amazing um, toilet brands called Kohler, based out of Japan and India, of course, and everywhere else in the world. Kohler, very famous guys. They loved his project, and they're talking to them to try and scale this up across the world. And they have something like this in Japan, but nothing like this in India, which is so crazy. Varsha over here worked on a simple device for her mother to send her WhatsApp messages every time her plant needed water. These guys over here devised a simple device called BAT that their friend could attach to their leg, and every time there was an obstacle in front of them, it would vibrate and let them know that there is something in front of him. Oh, I really like this guy's project. I don't know how many of you guys are from Bombay and don't like pigeons coming into your balcony. This is Trishit. Trishit came over and he said, hey, I have this problem. There are so many pigeons that come into my balcony and poop every time, and I can't go and use my balcony. And my mom has put these pigeon nets, which are super ugly, and my view is really, really bad. So should we make something amazing? And that's what he did. He created a simple device, which was like, which would detect a pigeon coming into the balcony and then create like flapping wings or makes ultrasonic sounds to shoo away the pigeons. Sort of like a modern day scarecrow to help the pigeons go away. Here's Aditya. He's worked on a simple device to save on that vampire electricity. I don't know if you guys know about vampire electricity, but every time your charger is on and your laptop is fully charged, you're wasting electricity. That is called vampire electricity. He built a simple device to cut off the energy the moment your laptop is fully charged or your phone is fully charged, to waste that excess flow of energy, which I think is really smart, because not only does it help waste the wasted energy, but it also helps elongate the battery life of your phone or your laptop, because it's reducing the number of charges. And his project is like super cool, simple little device. These guys, they came to the asylum to build hydroponic solution, and they built this amazing hydroponic solution, and now they're a full-fledged startup that's working with many agricultural farms. They were all like 16, 17 when they came over, and now they're building farming equipment for farmers across India and helping them set up their own hydroponic solution. What's really cool about them, they built a software which is like a game. Literally, they can drag and drop. I want to plant a tomato, and then automatically it gives you everything that you need to do to be able to put your tomato, and then it waters it automatically, takes care of it, and if it's not doing something right, it'll tell you to do this to fix it, to get the tomato grown in the right way. They've gamified that. And then one of the star teams out of Makers Asylum, and I'm actually wearing that t-shirt right here right now. This is Orangewood Labs. Can you guys see it? I don't know. It's a bit burning. Okay, robots are here. This is that t-shirt right now. This is Orangewood Labs. They again came out of Makers Asylum. They were, Abhinav was one of the students at one of our programs, and then Aditya was a professor, somebody from NID who was teaching over there and everything. They started working together, and they came up with an idea to build transformable furniture initially. Then they realized their core strength is actually in building CNCs and robotic arms. So after Maker's Asylum, they went to Y Combinator and they started Orangewood Labs out of, actually they started at Maker's Asylum, then they went to Orangewood Labs in YC in the United States. And now they've built these 6-axis robots that can not only work for the industry and do all sorts of welding and all sorts of crazy stuff, but last week it was at Maker's Asylum serving beer and making coffee. And one of the cool things that they've been doing is they've given it a lightsaber and it can actually have full battles like Star Wars. So that's just some projects that have come out of Maker's Asylum that I wanted to share with you and inspire you perhaps to be able to start your maker journeys and start building some really cool things from your end. Once again, no idea is big or small. Nothing is, you don't need to start. Oh, sorry, another phone call. You don't need to start at building something that is a 6-axis robotic arms to begin your project. They also began with making simple furniture, and Maker's Asylum also began with simple making tables once again. And that is key to the maker journey. Start simple, start small, but I would really encourage you all to start your maker journeys and start building stuff. And I hope this was a fun little story. I'm here to answer any questions and take it forward from there. Thank you once again, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Vaibhav, for the wonderful presentation. So, like he said, we'll now take up questions if any. Meanwhile, Mr. Vaibhav, I would also want you to, answer a few questions. So, can you, suggest or recommend some measures aspiring students can take to build skills in this domain? I'm speaking particularly of, the maker skills that you've been talking about in your session. So, where do we start?
Where do you start? Well, YouTube is great. You have so many amazing videos and makers out there, like Mark Roberts and so many others. You can start with that. You can watch some YouTube videos. You can start making stuff. Buy certain kits. Do some making at home. Making begins at home, honestly. For me as well, it was all about opening stuff up, seeing what's inside there, what's making it work, what's not making it work, what's broken, repairing stuff. There is one very important thing in the maker culture. When it's broken, you can't break it anymore. So go ahead, open it up, see what's inside, and try and fix it. If you don't fix it, it's already broken. So you have nothing to lose. And that simple line really changes a lot of things in your head, honestly. And of course, at Maker's Asylum as well, we have various courses and programs. If you're ever excited about those, you can reach out to us and we'd be happy to have you as part of some of our programs like the Innovation School, which is pretty much designed to help folks start their maker journey, learn skills like drones, IoT, electronics, build your first robot, learn how to hack a drone, learn how to make your first hack your room to be able to connect it to your phone, build an app for it, learn about virtual reality, learn about designing stuff for 3D printing, learning about 3D printing, laser cutting. All of these skills are taught in the Innovation School program. Plus, there are mentors that help you in building your final project that can be something that's really exciting for university or your applications going forward and things like that.
All right, thanks, Weber. So we'll move on to the next question. Students usually think in terms of, careers that I would want to get into this career or that career. So do you think there are, how would you categorize, careers in this sphere?
So, like I said, even during the presentation, STEAM and engineering, STEAM and making, I think, is very universal. It helps explore and be able to really find yourself in terms of what you really want to do. It doesn't hurt to be able to make stuff ever in your life. It's actually a life skill more than a career skill. But however, in a very straightforward way, especially if you're thinking about engineering, design, product design, um, entrepreneurship, making is, I think, essential for these spaces to be able to do something. If you're ever thinking about being able to start your own thing, make an idea into reality, I think STEAM and STEM-based programs really, really help over there to be able to expose you on how to solve problems and get into it.
All right, thanks, Vaibhav. So, lastly, we would want you to, give any advice for our students, for students who are aspiring in this field.
Sure. Well, once again, I would encourage you guys to start making, no matter what it is. And very, very importantly, to start making once again. Don't be scared about how complex or how simple or how big or how crazy the product is. And the fact that you're not going to be able to make the full thing maybe in the first go, that's okay. Start with something simple. Start making simple stuff. But keep making. The more you make, the more easy it becomes to start making more things. And that's really key to it. It's just like any other skill. It's just like learning how to swim or learning how to play the guitar. The first couple of times, it takes a little bit of time, gets a little getting used to. But once you start making it super easy, then it's like second nature. Then next time, before you even go and shop something from your nearest store, you're going to be like, oh, wait, I can make this. And that's beautiful. That little feeling of the fact that, hey, when you look at something and be like, hey, you know what? I don't need to buy this. I can make this myself. That's beautiful. And I think at your age, at your space, this is a key skill to start inheriting. And the sooner it is, the better.
Thanks, Vaibhav. Thank you so much for the presentation. We don't have any questions yet. Actually, the stream is, getting delayed. So they're watching us, they're past us, like past 2-3 minutes. So I think we can end the conversation here. And thank you so much once again for coming on our platform. And to all our students, thank you so much. You may contact us. I have pasted the contact details in the chat. So please feel free to reach out in case you're interested in this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good luck, everyone. And do visit us whenever you guys are in Goa. We would love to have you all over.